Hello and welcome to We're Done Pretending. I'm Ben. I'm a coach working with small business owners to help them find joy through understanding who they are, knowing what they want and having the confidence to go out there and get it. I'm joined on the sofa each episode by someone who's willing to put the mask down and not necessarily talk about the shiny LinkedIn profile version of our lives, but tell the human side of the story and what it means, the mess, the meaning, the joy, the chaos, just normal, everyday stories of wonderful human beings. Hopefully by listening, you might learn something about your own story, you might feel less alone in something that you're going through, and you might be inspired just to give something different a go that might bring a bit more joy into your life. And I'm joined today by Abigail. Welcome.
Hello.
It's lovely
Hello.
to have you.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's really exciting. I'm really excited to hear your story and learn more about you. I start with somewhere a little unexpected just to get us chatting. Mm-hmm. So tell me, what's your favourite thing to do when it rains?
Oh gosh, I am a bit of a home lover.
Yeah.
So is it really sad to say that I quite enjoy cleaning the house if we can't get outside?
If that is your thing.
So yeah, sorting out the house is generally my go-to task if it is raining. Or the other thing is we'll take the kids somewhere like swimming, so get out of the house. It depends if they're climbing the walls really, which they quite often are if it's raining all day. So
how old are the kids?
There is a 7-year-old and a 6-year-old, so Rafe and Coco.
Rafe and Coco. So they're full of energy.
They are, most of the time, full of energy, yes.
Let's go back to cleaning, because I'm not going to say I share your passion, but help me understand it.
Well, do you know what? If I'm being honest, I don't love cleaning myself, but I do like a clean house.
Ah, okay.
So I wouldn't necessarily say it was a passion, but yeah, if I'm stuck at home, I do just think, well, I may as well get on with it. The other thing that I've just started doing, actually, which is probably quite interesting to mention, is I've started doing Pilates in the morning at home. I was quite inspired by a friend of mine who was going to a Pilates class, and I was thinking, I just don't have the time or commitment to go to a class at a certain time every day. So headed over to YouTube and started just doing it at home, and you know what? It's been brilliant.
Yeah.
Just doing
How long have you been doing that?
Since December. I was like, I'm not going to start it in January because it's been one of those cliches.
So cliche.
So when I decided I was going to do it, it was probably like mid-December, and I'm just going to get on with it. I'm just going to do it. And my aim is every morning, but I don't succeed. But yeah, I think I've been doing it averagely maybe 3 or 4 mornings a week.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, it's been going quite good.
Yeah. Are you following a specific person?
Yeah.
Have you found like a channel that you like?
I found an Asian lady who does really simple, nice beginner level Pilates. She does like half an hour sessions, which is perfect. I can do it before the kids even need me in the morning.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Trying to find that little moment of time.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I really struggled with that because I used to love exercising when we were living in London without children.
Yeah, when you had all the time in the world.
All the time in the world, yeah. And probably still gave myself an excuse, but still enjoyed doing it. And then since having the kids, really struggled to just find the time. And there is that big push on social media at the moment about Asian Pilates. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do that.
And do it. So was your algorithm feeding you this? Because
Yes.
there's not a big push on my social
All right.
media.
It's just me then, yeah. My algorithm was
Something
absolutely
about you was saying this is
telling me, oh, you're going to enjoy this. Do this.
I'm getting jazz piano chords. That's the big push for me.
Obviously, we are fitting into certain types of stereotype,
yeah.
and that's how social media works, isn't it?
It's how the world works. So, paint the picture for us. It's before the kids are up, is it?
Well, just about. So my youngest, she gets up at about 5:45. We have a rule that we're not really allowed to get out of bed until 6 o'clock, and my alarm goes off at 6, so she knows. She doesn't really follow the rule. So we quite often just...
It's more of a guideline.
It's a guideline, yeah. she'll just come and get in bed and be like, Mummy, is it 6 o'clock yet? No, the alarm will go off. Mummy, is it 6 o'clock now? No, the alarm still hasn't gone off. So yeah, we have that conversation most mornings, and eventually we get up and I'll get her breakfast, and she'll sit in the other room and I'll go and do the Pilates. And usually by the time I'm done, my other child, Rafe, has come down and I'll get him his breakfast. So yeah, that's like it feels like a good time to do it because I've had to get up anyway. And usually I would just be sat probably scrolling on my mobile, half awake. So I was like,
how did you find the motivation to actually do it? Because there's lots of us who think that sounds just like what we should be doing. But there's a big difference between that thinking and then the doing it. How did you? Well,
do you know what? They're not that hard. Maybe if I start to do really hard ones, it would my motivation would change. But they're quite light. So at the end of it, you don't feel tired. You just feel a bit more energized. And I just thought I've got to do something. We're going on holiday to Tenerife at Easter, and I was like, I need to start doing some exercise. So, I'm 40 now, so it does change. Your body starts to change. So I noticed that those little small changes, and like, no, right, I've got to be a bit more focused on it, find a time that works and just go for it. And I did. So like I was not as good in December as I was in January, but January I'm like, right, no, come on. It's actually really easy. It's really good. It makes you feel better. I'm not doing anything else at that time in the morning, but I've had to get out of bed because my youngest is already awake and wanting a breakfast. So I was like, right, that's it. That's the time. So yeah, so far so good. I mean, I'm not saying I'll keep it up forever, but we'll see.
3 months is good.
Yeah,
it's better than a few weeks.
Yeah,
and then we've like binned it off already.
Exactly. Yeah,
and
still
hopefully,
going
as
strong.
the mornings get lighter, it just becomes easier, not harder.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we've done breakfast. Keep us going. Daily routine of the
so
life of Abigail.
Once everybody's fed, it's the usual upstairs, teeth brush, get them dressed into whatever uniforms, which is also a bit of a task because, it's PE, it's swimming, it's normal school uniform, Woods Day uniform. So there's lots of different uniforms to remember. Then when we're ready, all pile in the car, drop them off at school. And then my day starts to begin. So either I'm going straight back home to work on a project, or at that point I am travelling somewhere. So, for example, today, directly after dropping the kids off, if I've got any site visits that I need to do, or if I want to go and see a client, I will then go off to see that client. I tend to work within Cumbria and Lancashire. So, averagely it'll take me between half an hour and an hour to get where I'm going. Awesome. Yeah. And then I'm always on a bit of a clock watch because I have to make sure that I'm back in Kendal by 3 to pick the kids up. So yeah, that is basically my life, my day-to-day life.
How does it feel?
It feels great, yeah. I mean, I feel really lucky to be doing what I'm doing. So yeah, starting off my career as a fashion designer down in London, that was directly after university, then staying in London and working for about 15 years, I think it was in the end. Great career in fashion, then met my husband, we had some babies and then COVID happened. So it was that moment of, are we going to move back to the north or not? And that classic, after you've had a baby, I'm sure lots of women have experienced this, that I was working full time and the company I was working for wanted me to go back full time, and that wasn't going to work. I think I was going to have to leave the house at 7 a.m. to get to work, and then I wouldn't be getting home till about 7 p.m. And when you've got a newborn baby, that means you're missing their entire day. So yeah, we're like, right, we've got to make this decision and we're going to move back to Cumbria. And we did. So we moved back to Cumbria, settled in Kendal, so my husband can still work in London. And that's when I decided to segue into interior design and set up my business. Did a little bit of training just to kind of get to grips with some of like the CAD programs, but basically just kind of went for it using my fashion background, my design skills within fashion, and just like transferring everything over into how to make it work for a home. I mean, I feel like I've always been interested in interior design as well. It's always been a passion, just a personal passion. So, it wasn't, it was just a really nice project at the beginning to like see if I could get into it and do it. Into my 4th year now, so it's going quite well.
Brilliant. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Right, there's a whole lifetime in there, so I'm going to have to go back and we're going to have to like work through some of this because there were some big
moments.
Things. Let's start with fashion, or maybe let's wind the clock slightly back. How you ended up doing that fashion job in London, because even that bit of the story is just fascinating.
So
where were you born? Let's start. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Askham-in-Furness. So it's a tiny little village near Ulverston.
Yeah.
Went to school went to Dowdale Secondary School, which is in Dalton, which is not much bigger than Askham.
See, we have to understand how this girl from there ends
this
up
tiny place
with a fashion job in London, don't we? Because that's a movie.
Yeah, and then went to Barrow in Furness Sixth Form College.
And what were you studying?
So at Sixth Form, it was art and design and fashion and textiles were the 2 main subjects. And from there, did my art foundation and then got accepted into Central St Martin's, which is one of the best fashion schools.
Where did that come from? What?
Well, do you know, my tutors encouraged me to apply. It's like that UCAS, is it what you call it? Route B. So it's like the slightly higher end, slightly harder to get in university. So you've already got your place. I think I was already being accepted at Manchester University. And it was just a bit of like, oh, well, I may as well apply and just see what happens. And I got in and I couldn't believe it. I was like, right, that's it. I'm going to London. But
what was the drive?
Well, it was interesting because my sister, I've got an older sister, and she'd been at Manchester Uni, and I think my mum really liked the idea of us both being at Manchester. And she really didn't like university. She used to come home all the time. Now, Manchester isn't that far away. It's, half an hour and a half on the train or something. So it's fairly easy for her to go home. And when I said I was going to London, my mum was like, well, you can't just come home every weekend. I was like, okay, I won't. So I think she was trying to scare me a little bit and like, are you sure you want to do this? But I think I went to London and didn't look back. So I just loved it. Obviously, it was a bit of a culture shock when you first get there and you've got to try
Tell us about the first. Can you remember the first day? Can you remember arriving? Yeah,
well, I think I remember arriving into the halls, which was on Poland Street in Southwark in London. So it was fairly central London. And there was a bit of parking just outside the halls of residence. And my dad had parked the car there. My mum and dad were staying overnight in London, but we'd emptied the car apart from their one bag, which was in the front seat of the car. And the police had knocked on the door of the university residence for the owner of that car to go and remove the bag because it was like a risk of the car being broken into to get the bag. So that was our first like introduction to London. Yeah, it's like, don't leave anything visible. Like, okay. So yeah, they dropped me off into my little room. I mean, it's quite exciting that first night where you're there and you meet the other. I think there was 6 other people in the flat that I was living in, but it was a big old building with lots of like flats. So there was these common rooms. So you're just like constantly meeting people from all over the world. Most people went to the University of the Arts, so they were all doing degrees within the arts. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, just like finding your way around. Like I think I used to have one of those fold-out maps. This was before, City Mapper existed, or even Google Maps. I was trying to like figure out like how do I actually get to university? where do I need to go for this, that and the other? Where's the supermarket? You know, all those kind of things where you fresh into a city. But everybody that was there was also in the same boat, so it was quite nice. And I had a friend from sixth form, well, actually from Dowdales, who was also at the same university, so that was really nice. We had like one person that I knew. One little friend to, find our way around London together. So.
What was the overriding emotion at that time?
Excitement.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I was not scared of London whatsoever. I was just a bit naive, I guess. Just like nothing bad can happen here. It's fine. But no, it was really fun. I mean, I really loved my experience of living in London. And, you know, after Halls, I think I must have lived in about, no joke, 11 different properties, because I feel like I used to move every year for lots of different reasons. Either from Halls into a shared flat with friends. And when we were there, somebody would like get a job somewhere else or decide to go and live in a different house share. So by the end of that tenancy, you'd be like, right, where do I want to be? Or you just want to move to a different part of London. So yeah, I did a lot of moving around, and then eventually found like a nice group of people that I'd lived with for a few years. And ironically, that's how I met my husband, because I used to live with one of his friends. That's how we met.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the rest is history.
So when you graduated, what were you applying for, and where did you end up?
So when I graduated, I'd done a fashion design course, so I was just looking for any kind of starting job in fashion. I did some work experience at Mulberry, which was a high-end fashion brand, which I really loved, but in the end started to work for High Street because it paid for a start. So a lot of the high-end brands at that very entry level, they just don't, well, when I was at that entry level, they didn't pay. It was very much done on work experience, and I was like, nah, I can't do that. So I went for a job that paid in the fashion industry for High Street and just built it up from there, really. And like I said, worked in Topshop for a while and then moved over to ASOS for a while. And eventually became just a senior dress designer. Because as you work in High Street, you kind of get a little bit, it's not pigeonholed, but you start to kind of develop as a single unit designer. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it.
For those of us who that world we only know through films, or I don't know, magazines.
Well, it's not as glamorous.
Yeah, can you please tell us what it's actually like to be working in London in high street fashion design?
It's stressful. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. You have to work fast. It is fast fashion. Yeah. You've got to produce it fast. You're always producing new collections. You're always working, trying to find new fabrics, bringing in something new, something different. You obviously are inspired by what's going on the catwalk, and how that translates can be very different, as we know. But sometimes it is just finding like a really cool new fabric to work with to bring that look into mainstream fashion. But yeah, it's long hours. It's quite stressful. It's fast paced. You don't get invited to loads of high-end fashion parties. Certainly I didn't. Maybe some people do, but it's very much like you're just a cog in the machine of a big organisation who is there to do a very specific job. So, yeah, I mean, like, I did get to do some really amazing shopping trips where you get paid to go abroad and shop. So yeah, that was a real highlight. In my career, I went to Paris quite a lot of times, LA, Seoul in Korea, Sydney in Australia. So yeah, I did a few really cool shopping trips. And that is fun. Like, your small team of people go to these places, you get given a budget, and you are there to buy clothes. You're there to look at, what is that city doing, what's different. And you might be quite focused on what you're looking for. So it might be like summer season clothes, or it might be winter season clothes. So for example, if you're going for summer, you'd go for somewhere like LA, because generally their vibe is quite summery, because of the nice weather. So you go there and just find out what they're doing, and you buy all this stuff. Like, you come back with like bags of stuff, and then you work into it. You basically like pick it apart. You kind of look at like vintage clothes and new clothes from all different brands, and you take that sleeve from there and that neckline from there, and that lovely like floral print will get developed with a print designer, and eventually you're creating a complete new collection, but from your research that you've done when you went on that shopping trip. So
that's so fascinating.
Yeah.
I know you said it was a production line, but is there a piece that stands out? Could you tell us the story of a dress
of one dress?
From
gosh, there's been
inspiration to it hanging on the
hundreds. There's been like key moments where you've been on a night out with your friends and you've seen like people wear a dress that you've designed. You're like, ooh, that's the the Amelie dress that we designed for Topshop. But I mean, it's never just one person that's involved in it, so it's not like your design.
Yours.
But yeah, it's quite fun when you see people wearing it. And I did this like not featured top for Topshop once, where it was like had this like knot feature on the arm, and that was from a vintage Marc Jacobs dress that we'd bought when we were in LA, and we'd made it into a little t-shirt top, and I think Topshop must have produced it in every colour you could have imagined, and then it started to appear in New Look and all the other high street shops, because that is basically what they do. Anything that looks like it's selling really well, they just kind of make a version of it. So yeah, that was quite fun, because you're just like, that it was very relatable where that feature came from, and then was produced for one retailer, and then it starts to pop up everywhere, and you see hundreds of people wearing it.
So what role does fashion play in your life then, and clothes? What's your relationship with fashion and clothes?
I love it. I love it. I just wish I had a bit more money to spend on it. But don't we all? I think in my upbringing, my mum has always been very fashionable. And I think I was maybe influenced to go into fashion from her. And she also influenced my interior world, because she's always kept a really beautiful home. And I think that kind of process of shopping with my mum, like putting outfits together when you're out shopping, and putting a look together at home when she might be thinking of updating a room, and we'd go to the wallpaper shop with her, or Stoller's in Barrow, where we'll pick out a sofa and look at colours, and that process and understanding that it doesn't happen overnight. You have to like think about it for quite a long time and do your research and get out and find all the different bits. And I think the two things are very similar. Like if you love dressing and the art of dressing, it's not as easy as just going into a shop and picking up a dress and that's it. It's about like, what do you wear with it? What do you wear with under the dress? What do you wear on your shoes? What jewellery do you put on? What handbag do you wear with it? It's that complete look that I think makes somebody who can dress really well stand apart. And I think the same in interiors. You can do it a little bit like where you might just go in and just think, yeah, I like that sofa, I'm going to buy it. And you get it home and the sofa looks nice, but then you realise that the rest of the room actually now doesn't quite work. And that process of actually you need to think about everything before you make any purchase. And I think I learnt that from my mum, and she'd have like the idea, but then she'd have to like figure out what else is she going to buy to make it all work together, which then would influence, the wallpaper, the wall colour, whatever is going into that space. So yeah, that process, like learning that process of building something up from, you might just have like one thing that inspires you and then you build up from there.
I love that. Yeah. So I like to weave the threads through. Fashion. But and also during this time then you've met your what to be your future husband.
Yeah, so
tell us the love story.
The love story, oh my gosh. I met him at his 27th birthday, and it was a total random meeting. So I had a friend that I lived with in a house in Dalston, and I was just kind of sat in the living room, and he was like about to go out, and he was like, "Oh, what are you up to tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, I've not actually got anything on," which was quite unusual. Usually I'd have quite a packed social life. He was like, "Oh, I'm just going to a friend's birthday drinks just in the pub down the road. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right then." So I went down, and lo and behold, met my husband, but didn't know it at that point. But yeah, met him that night and had a lovely evening with everybody, and then didn't actually see him for a year after that point. So we didn't get together or anything on that night. It was just like that first meeting. And then a year later, he started to show up a little bit more in our like little social group. And then we went on a date and it was lovely. And here we are.
What was the first date?
We went to Dirty Martini for cocktails and then Beer and Bun, which is like, it was in a little bit like Shoreditch Box Park, but it was one of the original ones where it was just like these small street food vendors. And I think we had a bao bun and a beer, obviously. And yeah, so we're just hanging out in Shoreditch really, but it was nice.
And did you have any sense then that it was going to turn into, marriage and 2 children and moving to the Lake District?
Well, do you know what? There is a funny story here because I'm 3 years older than my husband. So at that time I was 30, nearly 31. And I was so open and clear with him on the first date. I was like, right, this is the situation. I want to have babies and I'm in my 30s. So if you don't want that as your future life, then I don't want to waste my time.
Cocktail.
Exactly. I was like really like, I need to know if that is kind of something you want in your life. And I don't know if this is just a London thing, but you do find that in London, lots of people are very scared to say that they want to have a family. And it's a bit macho to be like, yeah, I never want to have kids. And I was like, no. If that's your take, then it's not going to work. So yeah, I didn't mean like we needed to start a family that night, but I was just like, I need you to be on board with that's what I want. So if it isn't what you want, then this is your opportunity to run. So yeah, and he was like, yeah, I want a family eventually. I was like, great. Well, let's carry on then.
You passed the first test.
Yeah, passed the first test and went from there.
Yeah. Where was that? What was it a feeling? Was it a thought process? Was it what was it that made you at that point in your life think?
I think it was a few failed relationships and you're just thinking, oh gosh, is it never going to happen for me? And I think that's silly when you look back now because I was 30 or 31. I was like, okay, possibly a bit young to be thinking that way. But also then I always felt like if I have another 2-year relationship that doesn't work out, I'm getting to that danger zone where you can't have a baby anymore. And I do think it's harder to meet people in London. I think it is different. And I think if you've lived in a small place, you do find it slightly easier because you know people and people introduce you to other people. And the other reason I was a little bit forward with James was because we were in the same friendship circle. So if it didn't work out, it'd be really awkward. So I think it had to be quite like obvious from the start if it was something real or if it wasn't. It was like, had to be very clear. So so it worked out. So it was good.
Yeah. And is that in character for you to be that open? And
I think I'm generally quite confident and open in a sense that I don't hold anything back. Like I would never be able to keep a secret because it's written on my face.
Yeah.
So I'm not very good at holding anything back. But I would never be quite that forward on a first date. But the situations were different because we were from the same friendship circle, and it would have been bad if we'd have been together for a long time and it didn't work out than just being on one date and it not going anywhere. You would have still been able to be in the same friendship circle. So I think that was the reason.
And remind me, did you have both children in London?
We had Rafe in London, and then we had Coco in Cambridgeshire.
Right.
So we'd just moved outside of London just before she'd come along, really. So we're both still kind of working in London. But then it was that, like, we moved out to buy a house, a classic story, because it's just so expensive down there. And then, but we were still, like, it still took us a really long time to travel into work. So we were a bit like, does it work? It costs a lot of money. Like the trains, you can buy like yearly tickets to make it a bit cheaper, but it's a lot of money. When you're adding that on to a mortgage cost, that was one of our reasons for thinking, should we move back to the north? So like we just thought that actually makes more sense to live closer to family. And we were really lucky because James's mum and dad are from an RAF background. So they'd moved around a lot whilst, pre-kids and post-kids. And when we said that we were going to move to Cumbria, they were living fairly close to us at the time. Without a hesitation, they're like, we'll move with you. So they live in Kendal as well, and we're like 40 minutes away from my mum and dad. So it is much nicer. It's easier to do anything like your own business when you've got a bit of support around you.
Yeah.
So on a Tuesday, my in-laws pick the kids up from school. On a Thursday, my mum and dad pick the kids up from school. So I have like 2 days where I don't have to stress about getting back to Kendal for 3 p.m. So that makes a bit of a difference. And also it's just nicer for your kids to know their family. Like they know my wider family now. Yeah. It's my nana's birthday next weekend. So we're going to hers for a party that starts at 3 p.m. and ends at 6 p.m. So, but obviously she's quite getting old now, and but even things like that, like just knowing the great grandparents, it's just such a gift. Yeah. And then I've got my mum's from a big family, so I've got lots of aunties and uncles. Knowing all them and my cousins as well. So it's just nice to be able to have that on our doorstep, whereas you never would have got it staying down south.
I'm going to pause for a moment just to say that the podcast is funded and sponsored, if you like, by my work coaching. So that's both one-to-one and through gatherings. If you are enjoying the story so far, it would be fantastic if you could subscribe, or if you have 15 more seconds, leave a review wherever you're listening, and you can hear more about the podcast's tips, tricks, and ideas to bring more joy into your life at reflectiverebels.co.uk/newsletter. You made some choices along the way then, I think, this fashion dream and working in those industries. You mentioned earlier sort of having a child and becoming a mother, and the thought of going back to that. Something changed? What?
Well, so when I'd had Rafe and we were still living in London at the time, my company wanted me to go back full time, and I was just like, I can't do it. So something definitely shifts when you have a baby, because the idea of leaving them in nursery like from like 12 hours a day, and I appreciate some people do have to do that. But we had to have like a good think about, is it worth it for us? And also the nursery fees, if you like all of one wage would basically go on nursery fees, to the point where you're like, is there actually any point in me working?
Yeah.
So I looked into doing freelance fashion design, which I did do for about a year, I think, whilst we were living in London and then moving to just outside of London, working freelance fashion. And then actually, even when we moved up to Cumbria, I still was doing it a little bit, but it was increasingly difficult. And a lot of the businesses were based in London, and they wanted you to really be in London when you were working, even if it was freelance. They wanted you to go into the office, which was never really possible. And you know what? I think post-COVID, that probably has changed. So decided to retrain, decided to leave the fashion industry. And I think it was for two reasons. I think at that point, I was thinking I'm quite open for a new challenge, done it for quite a long time. And I really loved it. I loved my job. But it was long hours, and I just thought it's not going to work with one child. And I knew that I wanted a second. So I just thought I need to kind of set myself up to be able to do something else. And that's when I decided to go into interior design and set up Ben the Hoose. And we went, just trained to do the CAD work for interiors. Met some really lovely people on my course when I was doing it. It was all done online, and then just went for it.
Yeah.
Just thought, I've got to just try it. But it works around having a family. So
Yeah.
It's my own business. I'm running it from home. So I do have a little garden office, but I don't really use it for like meeting people in, because it's I don't feel like it doesn't feel very professional. But I think that's my mindset. I need to get over that, really. But yeah, I feel like because it's in my house, it's in the garden. But yeah, if I ever need to meet clients, I tend to go to them. But that's kind of the job anyway.
Yeah,
like
if you're looking at
their house, you do need to be in the house to discuss it. And of course, site visits are always in the property as well. So yeah, I thought it actually works really well to be running from home. I'm available to drop the kids off at school every day. If I can't get home for a reason, like if I have a meeting and it's quite far away and I know I'm not going to get back in time, I do have that support network at home to help pick the kids up. So, but generally speaking, I am there to do that. So yeah, I'm so happy I did it and pleased that it's working out, and feel so lucky that I've been able to do it. Yeah.
So do you resent, how do I ask this, being a woman and having to give up your career as a way that you could look at that narrative? Is the part of you thinks that this, it shouldn't have been like that?
In a way, yes. But also, I was also quite pleased that I was able to segue into something else and work for myself. I was getting a little bit fed up with the monotonicity of my job in fashion. And it's high impact, quite stressful, fast pace. And I don't think anybody can do that forever.
Yeah.
And then your mindset changes when you have babies, because you just want to be with them. It's like you've got kids yourself, haven't you?
3,
so you think, well, actually, it's better for me, for my personal gain, if I spend more time with my children, and it's better for them as well. Like it's a real gift if you can give it to your kids, where they can see you at home more. So yeah, I was. It's made possible, dare I say it, by my husband, because he's got a really good job. So he's able to. He was able to pay the mortgage and the bills whilst I was getting set up and getting started and getting known.
What was the moment? Was there a moment? Because this series is about people who've gone for stuff. So you went for this.
Well,
I'm
the
gonna
moment
strike
was,
out on my own.
yeah, COVID, and then making that decision to move to Cumbria. It was that moment. I was like, and at that point, I was thinking, I'll do interior design. And when I first trained as an interior designer, I did originally want to get a job in a business. That was like my first thought. But also in the back of my mind, I was thinking, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll set up on my own. And I didn't get a job. There isn't actually that many companies like near Kendal. I didn't want to start travelling into Manchester because that caused the problem that we were like kind of running away from. So yeah, that like moment of, right, I've just got to go for it. And touch wood that it actually works, because I mean, and I'm still kind of there, if it turned out that it didn't work at some point and we had a bad year or something, I would probably think, right, well, gave it a good shot, I'll go and get a job now. But I always think to myself, once the kids aren't at primary school, your choices are a little bit more open. They don't need you to drop them off at school anymore and pick them up every single day. It means that you can work more if you want to. So like I do think, if for whatever reason it starts to not work out, I won't be necessarily tied to this dream of like I must have my own business. I'll always just try and do what's right for my family first. And I'm hoping it's this forever, because it's a very nice job.
Are you enjoying it?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Yeah. I everything from single rooms, like sometimes I'll just go in and do at the moment I'm doing a bedroom for a 12-year-old, or just like commonly I get asked to do like living room, dining rooms. It could be like an open plan kitchen, living room, dining room, but the kitchen's already done. So yeah, that is quite a common ask. Or sometimes it'll be like the ground floor. Again, usually people have just had a kitchen company come in and design a kitchen for them, and then they want to do the rest of the house, but they don't know where to start. So that's quite a common thread of people just thinking, oh, actually, I'm just going to get some help to come in and help do it. So yeah, it's... but yeah, I just love it. I love doing the big projects, the small projects. I've not ventured into commercial interior design yet. I think that would be the business growth angle if I was going to go into that sector. But it is there's a lot more regulations that you have to follow. It's definitely not as easy. And it's scale-wise just much bigger. So there's a lot more risk involved. So yeah, I think for now I'm quite happy with residential interior design. But if a small bar or cafe ever approached me, I think I'd be quite happy.
You're not going to say no.
Yeah, like quite a nice small commercial space would be good. I do have a bit of a dream of doing a hotel. I think it would be really fun to do a hotel, but I do think it's a long time down the road to get to that point. But yeah, I do. I'm a bit of a big dreamer, a bit of a like I can do anything attitude, until you get you land that job and you're like, oh gosh, how am I going to do it? Suddenly panic sets in, and then you have to calm yourself down and think, no, I can do this. Follow the process, and then you can always get help if you need it.
So there are still moments of panic.
Of course.
Because that's what this is about, the weird unpretending.
Oh, gosh,
we can have the most successful business ever and it could be our best year, but then that doesn't mean there's not doubt and panic. And
panic will come on a daily basis. Like, a client might ask you a question about something. And you're like, oh, I don't know the answer to that. So you have to think on your feet, like, I'll just have to tell them what I think and then go and research it and make sure that is correct. But yeah, I think that's what terrifies me a little bit about commercial interior design, because there are a lot of regulations that you have to know. So panic would set in. But I think panic is a good motivator as well. It really makes you focus on something and learn and, draw from your network of people that you know that will know the answers to these things. And it really like focus your attention on making sure you know the answer. So yeah, of course, there's always moments of panic when you take on a new client. I feel like with the residential now, especially if somebody comes to me with a small project like a 1 or 2 room, it's like it's the bread and butter.
It's in your comfort zone.
Yeah, really comfortable. I know that I can deliver. I know that I can make it look really beautiful. The bigger projects, the ones that are like back to brick renovations, or it might be I'm working on a barn renovation at the moment, which is a huge project. And there's been moments in that project where I'm like, oh gosh, that wall is definitely not straight. How are we going to deal with that? Or it's got some really lovely old beam features above the windows, and I had to really think long and hard and do research to what kind of window treatment are we going to put there, because we don't want to cover up the beam, so curtains might not work. And there's always solutions, and you find those solutions, you present them to the client, and essentially you let the client lead on what they want. But yeah, like my job is to think about all those finishing details and make sure that if there is an architectural detail that we're using it to the advantage, that it's going to look beautiful in the room. So yeah.
What's holding you back then from that growth, from those things so you said panic's good, but
well, do you know what? I've not been approached to do it, so I feel like that would be the moment that I would go for it if somebody actually approached me to do it. What
would it take for you to reach out?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I'm always trying to think of ways of, how you can diverse your income streams and think about who could I contact, I've just recently started to go out to like building companies and just a friendly hello, this is my brochure. If you have clients that you might be building a house for, but they're asking you loads of questions about finishing details that you just don't deal with, then maybe you could introduce me. Or it might be that they're building like a scheme of houses and they want a show home, so that kind of angle. So these are like baby steps into commercial, because a show home is more of a commercial project because you're doing it for the company rather than the private client. So yeah, I'm looking into doing these kinds of things before I start to approach bigger commercial projects. And I've done offices in the past, which again they are definitely commercial, but slightly easier than a commercial building that's going to be used by the general public. And like I said, like I'd love to do a smaller restaurant or cafe, just because the physical size of it is easier to manage. And you're generally working with a small business owner rather than either a big company that might own lots of different businesses, like lots of different hotels. Or I suppose a boutique hotel would be quite good that is just owned by an individual rather than a bigger company. Yeah, so I'm exploring the options. Watch this space.
So what is next then? You said you turned 40, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah. So was that a big thing? I've just turned 42. How did it feel? Was it a thing or not?
Well, I made it into a big thing. Why not? So we went on a holiday, and one of our friends got married on the weekend of my birthday, and so me and my husband decided to stay in a really nice hotel in Belfast. So yeah, like we really made he really made it special in that sense. So, and he bought me a very nice present, and I was just like lapping off all the attention. Had a party, so yeah. I mean, I celebrated properly. Yeah. It didn't go unnoticed. I'm not that type of person.
And did it make you reflect on what's next?
Yeah, I think everybody slightly dreads it, and I think I did slightly dread it, which is why I was like, no, I'm just going to celebrate this in a big way. Because you feel like you're kind of halfway through life a little bit, and you should really have everything in place by now. And I think I'm very much still building my business. It very much is still a small business. And you have the normal struggles like, oh, can we afford that holiday? It'd be really nice to go here, but can we afford it? And I think sometimes life puts pressure on you, doesn't it? Of like, you should be at a stage in life when you turn 40 that's fine, but that's not reality.
It isn't.
So, and it's not reality for a lot of people. So yeah, it just, do you know what? All these things just make me more driven and want to try and expand the business or meet people. Like I've been working with a business coach at the moment just to see if I can, or where I can expand the business. But I do think, getting out there is just so important, because I still feel like I go to a group, like a networking group, and nobody's heard of my business. And it's in a local area. So it's that constant task, or trying to just get your business out there. I had some lovely brochures printed where I've tried to drop them in some of my suppliers that I use, so that hopefully you get a bit more passing traffic of people just seeing the logo and recognising who you are. But yeah, it takes time. It really does take time. And I do think that's why people say that, businesses, it takes 5 years to really start profiting a decent amount so that you can live. Yeah. So yeah, I think, I'm very much still in that zone of needing to promote my business and get out there and tell people who I am and what I do. So yeah, one of my USPs is I always work with colour. So I really love colour psychology, and it's the theory that all colour energises people, and it's in different ways as well. So everybody has a colour personality, and one of the things I love to do with a new client is find out what their colour personality is, or if it's a couple, find out what each person's colour personality is, and then figure out how can we mix these two personalities so that both parts of the couple are happy in that room. And I find it so interesting. And, when you start to chat to people and you get to know them, and then you explain, if you find out that you're an autumn personality, and you explain what an autumn personality is like, and you start to see on their face like, oh gosh, yeah, that really resonates. Me, yeah. That is so me. And it puts people at ease as well, because it really shows that you've understood what they're like as a person. And then using the psychology part of it to say, this type of personality really likes chunky furniture, you like to feel grounded, and they're like, yeah, that is what I would go for. And all of a sudden, you're the expert, and that person really trusts you to produce a design that's going to just work for them. So that's what I try to do with all my residential clients. And it does work for commercial, but it's a different kind of thing, because for commercial, you're really looking at who you're going to try and attract into that business. So what is your target market? And it obviously is very tricky if they say, well, we want everybody to come in. If it's a cafe and they're like, yeah, we are. Yeah. We want everybody. So it's trickier. But you can certainly use colour to make people feel calm. You can use colour to make people feel energised and excited. And I always think McDonald's is quite a good one to think about when you're explaining colour psychology, because the yellow is joyful and creative, and it's, the golden M's, it's attractive. But red is an aggressive colour. Now, red will give you energy, but it also makes you a little bit anxious. And because it's a fast food brand, they want to attract people in with these lovely bright colours, but they don't want people to stick around too long. To leave. Yeah, and that is the reason behind why they've chosen those two colours, because it's fast food. They want people to come in, be happy, enjoy their food. Like, they want lots of noise. They want people to talk and almost be loud. and then go.
Yeah. Bringing that back to you then, describe your favourite room in the house.
In my
In your house, and what that says about you.
What that says about me. So I have, lots of people have a mixture of different colour personalities, and mine is spring first and second winter. So explaining a little bit what spring personality is somebody who really likes kind of like light and bright colours, but they love seeing a pop of colour. So, for example, I'm seeing your little flowers in a vase over there with lovely reds and oranges and yellows and, you know, that small amounts of pops of colour. And the winter is the dramatic. It's bringing in the drama. So my home room is my living room that we did last year. And I've gone for quite a busy wallpaper. I love wallpapers. So it's quite a busy wallpaper, and it's like this natural scene, which is, again, nodding to the spring personality. It's got trees and tigers and peacocks in there, so it's quite colourful. But it's not, the base colour is cream, and then it's got blues and greens and browns in it. So a spring personality will like a kind of like neutral base colour, but then adding in these lovely colours on top of it. And we've wrapped that round all the walls apart from one. And the one wall that doesn't have the wallpaper has the TV and the TV unit, and it's a bit more of a media wall. And then I've got quite a neutral sofa and then lots of bright cushions. So that's my personality. It's kind of bringing in these lovely bright pops of colour, but it's not maximalist colour. It's a bit more chilled, so it's a bit calmer.
What does that say about who you are then, deep down?
Deep down, well, a country girl at heart, I think, but loves the vibrant city. I think that really explains me perfectly. I love that. I love the vibrant city. I absolutely loved living in London when I lived there, and would move back to London if I was wealthier.
Yeah.
You know, a lot wealthier.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of idea. But, you know, my true self really is enjoying the countryside, access to nature and being able to get outside. I absolutely adore my garden. Me and my husband keep looking at houses because we'd like to move to a bigger house. We've got a 3-bedroom, but the small bedroom where my son is tiny. And we do feel a bit bad because it's like there's nothing we can do about it. So we're always looking. Yeah. Is there something bigger and better out there? And Kendal house prices, you go from a 3-bed to a 4-bed, and it's like so much more money. So yeah, not quite found that right property, but that idea of moving. I've lost my train of thought now. What was your question?
You were talking about gardens, actually.
Yeah, that was it, gardens. So the bigger properties will, if we can afford them, either don't have a garden or they have like a really tiny yard. And then I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. And James is always like, he doesn't really love the garden. He's more of like a city person. So he's like, well, we only can use the garden 6 months of the year because it's the rest of the time it's raining. Yes, but for those 6 months, it is worth it.
Sacrifice it, yeah.
Absolutely worth it. So yeah, I'm holding on to the garden at the cost of a bigger house, but that's fine.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
We chose our house really quickly. But one of the reasons that it was a definite yes is the garden.
Yeah,
it's a really great size, and it brings me a lot of joy just to be out there.
Yeah, I love gardens. I mean, I feel like being a better gardener is in my future. I'm not very good at it at the moment, but that's a time thing, and it probably is an excuse, but that is my excuse, that I don't have loads of time. But I keep it tidy. We haven't really got loads of like colourful plants, which is something that I do want eventually. But also I'm very much in the mindset. Can't do it all. And I just will not invest into it until I am ready to actually look after it. Otherwise, I think it'd be even more upsetting.
It's time to wrap up, but I'd like to ask if you could go back and talk to that version of you that was about to go on that date, that had all of those worries and concerns and thought time was running out, what what would you say?
Would I do it differently?
No, what would you say to that person, that version of you, knowing what you know now, that was
just
feeling
relax? It will happen. And just like trust yourself to just be who you are, and be able to meet the person that loves you for being you. So yeah, I feel like I'm very lucky. Got a great husband, and he does support me, and he's given me everything that I asked for on that first date. I've got babies and a house. So yeah, but there maybe wasn't the worry that I was feeling at the time. In hindsight, hindsight's a great thing,
it's
isn't
wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
Well,
That's been absolutely fascinating, and I've learned lots about worlds that are totally alien to me. Yeah, it's been really interesting chat.
Thank you very much. It's been great to be here and talk about me.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And thank you for listening. If you have found Abigail's story interesting, I hope there's some reflections in there for you. I think the message at the end of trust yourself and trust in who you are is a really important thing that we could remind ourselves daily and get a lot out of from life. So I think that's fabulous. Please do subscribe and leave a review wherever you're listening. And if you want to know more, you can join the newsletter at reflectiverebels.co.uk/newsletter. Until next time, thank you.